Hello, this is April Sheehan Cocker from the Roots Party of Ireland, and I just wanted to talk about something that I saw on the 6-1 news. Now, I saw it a while ago, I've been trying to settle down since, but it kind of hit me emotionally, even though I don't normally do videos when I'm feeling emotional. And that was some of the footage that was from Gaza on the 6-1 news, from Rafah, sorry. That was on the 6-1 news there this evening, where there was a few kids and they wake from hunger, barely able to running after a truck trying to pull bits of food off it. And it went on to say after that because of the way the Israelis do their chicken or whatever, essentially the Israelis robbed half the food in the trucks and no need of it. Like, these are starving people and it's to rob half of what they had. And thinking about it, like, I don't know that much about Islam. I do, but from where I gather is that kind of their equivalent of Easter, although I know it's different, is Eid, which is today. And when you think about a week and a half ago, every child in Ireland woke up Easter Sunday morning to rake of chocolate, and in a lot of kids, some didn't, some are, but even the poorest of our children woke up, in most cases, to at least some chocolate and whatever was the nicest dinner their mother or grandmother or whoever could come up with for them. And to see them there now on their equivalent of it, and they're trying to run after a truck of bits of flour and things, trying to pull bits off it, wake from the hunger, on their kind of equivalent of it in their religion, and half it robbed by the colonial occupying forces. It would remind you an awful lot of the stories that we have from our own famine era. The second thing then is another thing is there was photos and more details going around of the foreign man who was killed in Kulak, Josip Strok, I think. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his surname right. He was a Croatian man, and himself and his brother were beaten savagely for speaking their own language in Kulak, County Dublin. They were Croatians. And again, kind of looking back, feels an awful lot like the same era when an awful lot of Irishmen lost their lives over speaking their language under the penal laws. And when you think of it, what's the tying in there between, the Irish relation to that, the penal laws and the famine, and what's the relation to that with what happened to the two Croatian lads, of which one ended up, passing away, and the situation in Gaza. And what it is ethnonationalism. Because there's a huge difference between love of your country and civic nationalism, and ethno-nationalism, as in, here we are, we're better than these lads here, who are different to us, or, this is ours, and, like, no one has a right to live but our own, and, these are lesser than us kind of thinking, is what ethno-nationalism is. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about 1940s Germany or Israel right now, or some of what is going on in this country with regards to some of the various groups around the country. Now, it's all fine to have issues which, say, for example, things going in places where there isn't enough services for them, or there's an awful lot of things, like there's an awful lot of nuance to the situation we have with immigration in the country. Like, I have no issue with it, with the immigrants coming, but, like, they could have dealt with the situation better and housed them in more suitable areas, and not put pressure on the services of areas that didn't have services. Like, why weren't any of them put into into D4? I mean, there's plenty of services and everything there. Like, if we're dealing with a crisis, we should all be dealing with it together, not just certain areas, but that's beside the point. I can understand people's grievances there, but what, at the end of the day, puts you above anyone else? what at the end of the day puts you above, a Muslim man walking down the street, a Croatian fella walking down the street, or whatever walking down the street? What at your basis puts you above them? Absolutely nothing. What at its basis puts our children or an Israeli child above the children there in Rafah running after that truck? Can you anyone go on to the RTE player and see that? Children running after a truck trying to pull bits off it with another truck behind them, and they wake from the hunger. They were that hungry, they didn't think about what would happen if the truck suddenly stopped, or if the truck, or what the story was with the truck that was behind the truck they were trying to pull bits off of. Imagine that level of starvation in children. Like, they couldn't have been more than 10. They couldn't have been more than 10, and they putting their lives in danger. And I mean, can you imagine that they affected that on anyone? Because the last time they left the aid in and then fired on them when the aid came in. This time they left the aid in, but took half it. And they haven't no need of it. They haven't plenty themselves. Which is exactly the same kind of thing that was done to us during the famine. Like, the people going on making hateful comments, and about under videos about Palestine, and making hateful comments, towards foreigners and that are here, and making hateful comments towards anyone. And what galls me about it is an awful lot of them would call themselves Christian. Where is the Christianity in that? And it galls me as well that an awful lot of these hold up, our sufferings and sorrows and what happened to us, and kind of saying, and holding up our heroes of old, they wouldn't spit at the same side of the road you were walking at. They wouldn't look at you. And it's a very sad world we're living in, and it's a very sad country we're living in. Now, I hope this gets passed, because I made another video yesterday about, and it was interesting enough, about the whole thing. I made another video yesterday unrelated to the Croatian brothers who got beaten, about the situation in this country with violence, because someone decided to give me jip about the fact that we want to be tougher on violent crime. We want to liberalise the rest of the legal code, but we want to kind of come down a bit harder on violent crime, and have things like elected judges and that, so that we don't have a Martin Nolan situation again. And we want to kind of adopt the Norwegian rehabilitative prison model. And there was someone giving me jip about that, as if we could let the situation that's going on go on. Now, hate crime is up 29%. We'll say people losing their lives through violent means and trying to avoid this getting flagged for this, because I got flagged yesterday and without the means of appeal. People having their lives taken from them is up about 30%. There's been 3,600 cases of things happening to people against their will last year. And we have the world, complete pussyfooting around people who are going around violently intimidating people of every minority in the country. And anyone who tries to defend minorities in this country, or anyone who tries to defend human beings as human beings worldwide. So, I don't know what I want to say exactly about all of this, but, we can't go on like this is a country, and we can't go on like this is a world.